Hello, everyone. We are bored as hell. I'm Trey,
I'm Sierra.
and we are so glad that you have returned to our second week of a podcast. We've been very busy playing some social games and some strategic games for the past 2 weeks. So basically, with the social week, we had one of her friends come down to town, and we were able to play Blockbuster. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that game, but Blockbuster is basically a card game where I would guess it's a card game. Would you say it's a card game?
Yeah, card game slash trivia game.
But basically, it's about movies. So you have to guess a bunch of different movies about, based off of like either you only have like one word, a movie line item, or a movie quote, or acting it out. So, for example, like for Star Wars, for one word, you could use Vader, maybe. Or
Yoda.
yeah, Yoda. Or to quote it, you could do like "I am your father." Slight spoiler alert there. Sorry if you've never seen Star Wars before, but basically stuff like that. So we played both the original version and the expansion, and let's just say the expansion's a lot harder than the original.
I just don't think you know the movies very well.
I think it's because of the categories. So the categories for the expansions are not for kids, which is probably pretty much what would you say, rated R movies mostly.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we have From Another World, which that category is I'm fine with because that's sci-fi and I'm totally aliens and that type of
robots.
stuff. Remakes and reboots, that one I'm okay with as long as it's like the Disney era or Disney type of reboots, but like other reboots, I mean besides like Dune, other than that I don't really know too many. I mean Total Recall, but sci-fi once again, sci-fi genre, I got it down. And then finally the heartwarming category.
I was great with those.
Yeah, they're mostly family movies slash Disney movies, would you say?
No. I would say they're more of like romance.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's why I struggled because I haven't seen many romance movies apparently, but we're working on that.
Yep.
But we thought at least, or at least I thought, the original was a lot easier than the expansion.
For sure. Yeah.
I also
They just
think
had a lot older movies, movies that we grew up with, and just ones that we knew more of than the expansion.
Do you think it's also because we may have played the original more than the expansion? Would that cause a reason for us to play the original?
Probably. We know each other and know what we can do for them to get it, basically, yeah.
Yeah. But basically, it was fun. It was still fun. It was very funny overall. We had a great time. We played it twice last week. With one of my friends and then one of her friends. So we had at least a fun time playing that and lots of laughs.
Yeah, for sure.
We also played what do you mean Disney or Disney? What was the version? It's a Cards Against Humanity, but Disney version.
Oh, Cards Against Disney.
Cards Against Disney. I was not expecting that whatsoever.
That's hilarious. If you don't know what it is, check it out. It's basically Cards Against Humanity, but Disney, and it's not disappointing, to say the least.
It's adult version, that's for sure.
It's not for kids. Don't let your kids play the game.
Because I was not expecting that whatsoever whenever we played. I was just like, oh, these are my cards. I would say your friend was just killing it with all the different categories. Because, like, after a while, you kind of realize, like, what would win people over. So, like, her friend was, like, whatever was the funniest slash dirtiest joke. You were kind of what made most sense, I would feel like. And then she was kind of like... She was kind of the most dirty, and then she would flip to, like, what made most sense, then back to most dirty.
I mean, if they weren't funny...
Yeah.
Then you would do whatever makes most sense.
Yeah.
But for sure, if it was the most dirty slash whatever made you laugh, we would all pick that one.
Because my problem was, towards the end of the game, I was just getting names. Because you have, like, sentences, you have, like...
I mean, it's just like Cards Against Humanity, where it had just President whoever, or they had names, and then they had... actions and stuff like that. So, and that's the same thing with Cards Against Disney.
Yeah. And it was I eventually realized how to get rid of all my cards, but it just took a while.
Yeah.
Because my deck pile was just a bunch of names at one point, and then that was the joke was, that's stupid, as my name was appeared of. I was just like, I don't have anything. I'm sorry. But that was basically our first weekend, was just basically playing a bunch of like social games just to get to know
party
people.
games, and we played the voting game, which is basically a party game to get to know people.
Yep.
And my friends kind of make a twist drinking part of it, but we didn't drink in this one.
Oh.
We didn't.
Don't know that we were doing that.
Yeah, but it is technically a drinking game, but we didn't drink with it. But it was just to get to know each other, and you say a sentence, and then you vote to say who would be the most to do whatever the card said.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. But it was still fun, the voting game. It was very much a couple base. Like, it was either us as a couple would win the card, or them as a couple would win the card. So it was kind of cute seeing that back and forthness. But then this weekend we were able to play Dice Throne Adventures again. So I know we kind of briefly mentioned that last week in the last podcast, and so we're kind of expanding it this week. So first off, who are you playing as?
I am the Pyromancer.
And why are you the Pyromancer?
Because I love her. She
Yes.
is amazing.
You
She
love
doesn't
her.
heal very well, but she can hit really hard, and I love it.
Because that's your favorite character overall whenever you're like playing 1v1 or 4v4, right?
Yeah, because I can knock people out pretty easy.
Yes, you're very much a heavy hitter. I kind of went with whatever was left over, and I went with the Vampire Lord.
You had 2 seasons to pick up.
I know we had 2 seasons to pick from, but I didn't, like, I wanted to play either like the ninja, or I don't know who I wanted to play. Yeah. So I don't know exactly who my favorite character is yet in Dice Throne. I can just say right now it's not the Vampire Lord. Well, I would say she's good in like a 1v1 or a 4v1 because you can get, if you guys don't know, she gets like abilities, like she has to wait a turn to gain up her power. But the problem with this Dice Throne Adventures is it's co-op and you have to wait 4 turns and you could potentially die before then. So you can't really build up your, like, you can't waste a turn just building up your power. You have to attack then and now.
Yeah, it's very much so. You got to kill the monster now, or we might be dead the next turn you have.
So that's why I'm not really liking the Vampire Lord so much right now. I still like her because whenever I do build her up, she can hit hard, but it takes me a while to do that. Or if I get lucky, I get those cards, but you never know. But we've been playing that for what? 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah.
We
don't know.
Question mark. Because I know the holidays kind of threw everything off.
4.
Yeah. I think this is, yeah.
I think yesterday was our
fourth outing. And so the first time we did great, going through, because basically you go through a room, like a dungeon room, and then you battle a boss, then dungeon room, boss, and so on and so forth for at least 3 or 4 times, roughly. So
I think it's more.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that we made it through, basically, without losing. We made it through the dungeon, killed a boss, made it through a dungeon, we made it to this next boss. And this is whenever we finally lost
Yeah.
to the gunslinger.
Yeah.
Or the, I think it's just gunslinger.
Yeah, I think we just didn't have very good rolls. It wasn't a good day for sure on attacking, because I think I whiffed twice, I think.
And then also the gunslinger's ability of potentially cutting the damage in half sucks. So the first game that we played against him, we had a bunch of damage that was defendable. So if you don't know what the game is, you have 2 types of damage. You can either do undefendable, which you can't defend it, obviously, and you have defendable damage. And we were doing a bunch of damage that was defendable. And the problem is, he's got a really good defense. So both people, the monster and whoever is quote-unquote attacking him, roll a dice. and whoever wins that dice battle, like who has the highest number, determines if he gets his numbers cut in half or not. And for the most part, the monster always won.
Yep.
So
We just got really unlucky.
yeah, very unlucky. First game we got blown out of the water.
Yeah.
I think it was like 0 to 40 health
Yeah.
left or something ridiculous.
Second time we did a lot better.
A lot better, but we also get more health. So that's the only good news is you
Scythes.
get Oh yeah, scythes. That's what they're technically called. But for the people that don't know what that game is, you basically get a little bit more health that you can cash in at any point. It's kind of like a health potion, basically.
Kinda, yeah.
So we got a lot closer that time, but we still just did not beat him. I believe we were close. Like at one point, it was like 10 to 12, and then we just started whiffing again.
Yeah, and it just got really unlucky really fast.
Yeah. Well, he also got like some cards, like because the monster also gets cards too, and those cards just were.
So it's like we get a turn, he gets a turn, and then the next person gets a turn. And then he gets another turn, and so he has a lot of turns.
Yeah, and he did a lot of damage to us all at once.
For sure.
He was whiffing a bunch, or his damage wasn't as bad, it was minimal, and then all of a sudden those last couple turns was like 10, 20, and I'm like,
yeah.
Yep, we're losing. So that was kind of the unfortunate thing with Dice Throne was...
We'll try it again.
We'll try it again, but we had to put it down because we were just kind of getting frustrated with it because... Obviously, we lost twice. And we never lost before, so we didn't know what that mechanic was like, which is, I mean, it's still fair, but it's still annoying. It just, overall, it doesn't matter too much. It just hurts your overall points at the end, but we're not really gonna gloat about winning it. We're just trying to make it through veteran difficulty at this moment in time.
But so we got tired of that, and then we went to Gloomhaven.
Yes.
Jaws of the Lion.
Yes. So not the big one, not the big one, but the little one that you see at Target. That is kind of like, what would you say? Kind of like the beginner guide, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that. For sure. Before you go into the big one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a training wheels one, which it was great for us at least.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yes. It was a lot. It was a different pace. It was great. It's like D&D in a way. But
we only did chapter 1.
Yeah,
we didn't get too far into it.
It's good role playing. So with that being said, why do you like the Demolitionist?
I like him because he hits hard, he moves, and he can destroy obstacles to where I can help our other teammates move closer to whoever we're defeating.
Yes. He's also like the tiniest figure too, and I was like, oh, it's so cute, it's little you. So also you were killing it that night.
Yeah, I think I killed all of them but 1, 2.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
I killed one, and then the other friend killed another one.
Yeah.
So I think we had like 6 rodents that we had to go kill, or 6 or 7 rodents, and I was just like, okay, I'll just be in the background. Speaking of being in the background, I am the Thatcher or Hatchet person. Hatchet. So basically, I am range. I have a bunch of hatchets in my backpack, and I just throw them.
He doesn't want to get close.
I don't want to get close.
Because you don't want to hit yourself.
That would actually hurt. Ow, my leg! But the nice thing about him is that you can hit multiple targets at once, depending on your positioning. Because like one time I potentially could have hit all 3, but I whiffed on 2 of them. But that's just something in the game mechanic, and I was just like, it would have been so great. But I still like him, considering I had a choice between that or the Void Warden / the Mage. So I kind of got voluntold to go with that
one. They asked to switch, and so he was fine with it, and you like him, right?
At least level 1, we're good.
Yeah.
It's a fun mechanic. It's very interesting. The way that you lose, technically, you have a bunch of cards. You have about like 6 or 7 cards to start with, and every round, or once you run out of those cards, you have to discard one of those cards, and eventually, if you run out of cards, that's it. You're done. So far, hasn't been too hard.
No.
But it's been fun. We've enjoyed it so far. I know it's only level
The
1.
one. It
So
wasn't very hard. We just got to learn the mechanics basically, and then I think the next time we learn something new.
mm-hmm.
Each chapter we go through, we learn something new, and I think that helps us for if we ever wanted to get the big Gloomhaven.
Yes. I also think too, do you think, looking back on this game so far, do you think it's very replayable? Do you think it's just like a one and done type of thing, or
I think
can you
it's
play
too
it
soon
again?
to tell.
Okay.
I honestly don't know.
I think
Maybe you could,
I don't know. We
but
haven't.
there's the
Yeah.
stickers,
Yeah.
so I don't know if.
The stickers go onto the maps just so that everybody knows. So you get a map and you put stickers on, and that's like where you're exploring. And so yes, you're reading through a novel real fast. So as of right now, I don't. Of course we haven't.
I would say, as of right now, yes, we could replay it.
Yes, we could probably play different characters.
But again, we're only on chapter 1. I don't know how many chapters there are, so I could not tell you if this is a one and done type thing.
It doesn't look like it because in the packaging, each character has like a little notepad, and it at least has like 10 pieces of paper in there, so I'm sure you could replay it. I'm sure there's veteran difficulties and that type of stuff, but whenever we first read through it and did that type of stuff, so I was like, ooh, this is maybe just a one and done type of thing, but we'll find out.
Yeah, so basically it just seems like we're a bunch of lost souls, basically, and we're just trying to save the world, I think.
Yeah, or, well, at least we're trying to find farmers, or the wife's farmer?
Yeah.
I don't know. And that makes sense in my head, but we're trying to find a farmer at this moment in time. Didn't really work so far. So, I like the fact that
we passed level 1.
Yeah, that's true, but we didn't find the farmer, though.
I think we have to continue on to find the farmer.
I guess. Makes life so much difficult. But yeah, overall, so far, first impressions, we like it. We'll keep giving you updates whenever we play it. Along with like Dice Thrones, because we play that with a group of friends every other Saturday, and so basically, yeah. Eventually, you'll be playing D&D with them, which I'm a little jealous of.
Yeah, we just don't know when.
Don't know when, and you
still in the air because he still has to
figure out
everything.
I just know that D&D does take a lot of time to prepare beforehand.
And whenever we start, I'll tell you about it.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing too is before we went over to their house, we went to our favorite little local game store, Game HQ. Woo! Spent way too much money there again.
Like always.
Like always. So first thing was the most surprising thing. We found an expansion pack to a board game that we really like, Dune. So bear with us. There's like 5 different versions of Doom nowadays, but basically it's the one that has the big board with the circle. Yeah, it's right behind us. So for the YouTube people, it's going to be this one right here with the old classic art style on it. But basically it's got every single house on there. And so there's just another expansion to it. Basically it just adds 2 more houses. I have never heard of them because I've at least read the first book of Dune and I have not heard of this. It's the Iexans and the Tluxula. Yeah, we're gonna go with that because those names are all don't know. So who'd you pick as?
I picked.
Yeah, good luck with the name.
The one that starts with the T.
The one with the TL. And I was the Iexans, which were like cyborg type of people, and your people were.
Mine basically just controlled everything.
You didn't. Well, the Bacta tanks.
Yeah. Well, where we receive all of our, where we get our people that died.
Yes. So if you don't know about Dune, it's a fun game. It's a very strategic game. So a lot of people die and go into the Bacta tanks. Well, now there's a new house that controls all the Bacta tanks. I'm going to call it Bacta tanks. I know it's Star Wars, but I don't remember what exactly it's called. So I'm just going to call it Bacta tanks. If you can't tell, I like Star Wars. But basically, she controlled that, and she basically could say, no, you're not gonna get anybody for free, and then you have to pay her to get people out of the Bacta tanks,
Yeah,
which sucks. Considering my house already could only get one person out for free, it was going to take me forever. And then on top of that, I just could not pay anything. So that kind of sucked. But mine was a little bit more interesting. I had like a movable fortress, I guess you could say. A hidden fortress that got to move around, which was cool to mess with. But let's just say those two factions going against each other, kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was very hard. Well, one, we kept getting worms, which then we couldn't get spice to
Do
anything. And so it was very, anticlimactic, basically. So I couldn't do anything because I couldn't get spice because the worms, and he wasn't trying to pay for anybody to get out of the tank. And so I couldn't do anything at first. And so then I finally got spice, and I finally was able to battle him. And we only had one battle, which is very
Undune-like.
Yeah, we usually have like
50.
Yeah. And so I won after that.
Yeah, because basically she took over 4 controls. I could have technically won earlier, but it was like turn 3, and I wanted to see how the game played out because we didn't really get to play with like the characters too much, so I just kind of like extended it.
And I had face dancers.
Yeah, face dancers which was different than normal traders, and
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. If you ever played Dune before, you kind of know what we're talking about, but I still like the expansion. I was super excited that we saw it, and we had to buy it immediately. Ooh.
I just think the next time our friends come over, we're going to have to play it.
Yes.
With more people to make it more
fair,
but have a little bit more things going on.
Because basically those 2 houses dick over 2 other houses that were
Yeah.
very powerful.
And we didn't have those 2 houses because it was just us 2.
Yeah, and so it didn't really matter too much, but it was still fun no matter what. I'm just glad we found it there.
Yeah,
But speaking of what we found at that local store, we also picked up 2 more codexes for Warhammer 40K. So we just basically, so we've already had Space Marines and Necros, so we just added to it by just getting their codexes so that we can deal more and build more stuff if we want to later on down the road. And then I picked up...
We painted more.
Well, hold up. Wait. I'm
excited.
I know you're excited, but I got my Space Wolves, and I finally got some Space Wolves, like legit wolves. Because the combat pack did not come with Space Wolves, with the Space Wolves.
But you didn't want the Space Wolves. You wanted the Cyber Wolf.
I wanted Cyber Wolves. They look cool. But anyways, I got wolves finally. That was what I was going to say too. That's what else we bought. But yes, how's painting going for you?
Painting is a lot longer than yours. I have so many more people to do than you. I still have 7 more and he's done.
Yes. Well, it also helps like with the Space Marines, like you only get like you get 4 Marines, you get a assault commander, and then you get like another HQ person and then 3 bikers.
Yeah,
that was it. So I had like 8 people to paint.
Yeah.
And then she's got like 17 and I'm just like, how's it going over there?
I think today I painted 4 or 5.
4 or 5 because you also did little scarabs.
Yeah, and I still have 2 more scarabs. I just did 1 to see how it would do, and it was easier than the actual people in itself. So I still have 6 people and 5 people and 2 scarabs left.
Yeah, so still 7 overall.
Yep.
So I've been painting the buildings. I'm waiting to start painting my actual like Space Wolves.
But when I get to my sisterhood, I still have a lot more than you too.
Because you have what, 23 or 24?
I think 24.
Yeah, and I have 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, and she also did. You have a tank.
Yeah, I have a big tank.
Big old tank. So I'm a little jealous of that, but. Yes, we've been painting. I was going to teach you how to do it, but we'll probably do that at some point, probably after this, of actually teaching Warhammer. We'll see. You'll find out on the next podcast if we do or not.
I just think we gotta finish painting first. I think it'd be cooler.
I will admit, though, our painting has gotten better. I can see it. Every single week, we're getting better at it. Because
more practice.
Yeah, practice. And then I actually figured out how to do it, too. That also helps. good YouTube videos. Super helpful. She's like, can you pull that up real fast, that YouTube video real fast to, demonstrate how to, what's the next layer?
I just gotta make sure I'm doing it right, They all have to look the same.
You're so cute. But yeah, we've been knocking out painting. That's been fun. I at least enjoy it. It's like a little peaceful moment,
Yeah.
spending time. Fun fact, we found out, don't paint at night. It's very hard.
Can't see anything.
Yeah, we had to bust out like a ring light. So like kind of like what you're seeing right now on YouTube, like the lighting there. Had to bust that out for miniatures.
I couldn't see anything.
We've just been used to using like outdoor natural light, so it was fun. But with that being said, have we missed anything?
I don't think so.
We covered a lot, I know. So as you can tell, we're getting longer on the episodes. Look at us go, we're learning. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening to the second week of our podcast. Make sure to feel free to like and subscribe down below in the comment sections. Once again, the audio version will come out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If you want to see our lovely, beautiful faces, plus me throwing up Dune onto the screen, then you can do that too on YouTube. But with that being said, do you have anything else that you want to say?
I don't think so.
All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.